In this video, I want to look at using chords and phrases to stimulate and generate ideas, but I also want to look at some of the advanced functions in phrases. So here I've got a sound called up from the Feel It Play Series instrument. And I want to try and build something with that, but I don't really have a concrete idea yet. So I've got a little drum groove here that I want to work with. So I think that's kind of the groove and feel that I want to start with. So I'm going to go to the tools, and in chords, I'm going to start with chords, and there's one that I like here called Little. Just double click to call that up, and I can hit one note, of course, to get the chords. I think I want to try a different key. I sort of had this idea in mind of G minor. I'm going to go to G Dorian. Let me try G minor instead. Yeah, okay, let's try that. So now we've got... Oh, that's nice. All right, let's spread them out a little bit. And I'm going to play with the timing a little bit, just so they're not all strictly in time. Great, so let me record a couple of chords, and we'll work from that. So that's a nice little 4-chord pattern to get me started. Let me find another sound that I want to work with, and I'll be right back. All right, I've got two sounds layered together here, one from Utopia and one from Glazed. And if you scroll in the instrument rack, you'll see them both there. And this is what they sound like together. So they work nice. I could pan them to get a bit of interest, maybe. Now I'm going to go to the tools section, and I can click in there and it'll jump right to the tools page, and go to phrases. And I'm going to start with this one. So I'm double clicking to load it in, and let's just see what it gives us right off the bat. And I'm going to, of course, set this to G minor so that it'll correspond with the chords that I have. And I'm going to lock this in case I do any randomizing in here or change any of the either phrases here or in the slots over here. Now, I don't have to use all these phrases. They're pretty long. I think I'm going to transpose it up an octave. And let's see what it's like at half speed. And let's shorten it a bit. Let's hear what it's like with the chords. Here it is with 2 beats count in. Okay, I kind of like it on the first 2 chords, but then I want to switch to another pattern after that. Let's hear what it sounds like. Now you'll notice that when I trigger the second pattern, this is the first, this is the second, it jumped right back to the top, and that's due to a setting that we have here for retrigger. When we're in a on mode, the new phrase starts from the beginning when we trigger it. Now when we're in off mode, the new phrase is going to take over from the playback position of the previous phrase. And the only difference between that and legato, here the new phrase takes over from the position as well, but only if we're still pressing the previous key. Let me just put it to off for now, in case my timing isn't great with when I lift my fingers off the keys, and let's hear what that's like. So that's the difference. It'll keep going. Now watch what happens when I trigger playback without my sequencer running in my DAW. It just picks up from where it left off. If I trigger it again, it'll start from about here. And now it'll start from about 6 o'clock. And that's one of the differences between off mode and legato, where here it'll restart at the top every time, as long as there's no notes held to generate the legato mode. So let's try capturing these two trigger notes, and then we'll work with that. All right, and I made sure to overlap the notes a little bit so that the legato mode could do its job and that the second pattern would pick up at the same position that the first one ended. So let me copy these trigger notes over, and what I can do now is experiment with the rotate control, and that way it'll trigger different parts of the pattern, and maybe we'll get lucky and find something interesting. No, I don't like it. It's kind of out of time. No, let's leave the rotate control alone. Now on the settings page, like we saw with chords, we have an advanced mode with mapping where we can adjust these ranges, but by default, the octave starting at C0 triggers different banks of patterns that are triggered from C1 to C4, but these are all adjustable, of course. So in this case, you'll notice now when I trigger these keynotes down here, the pattern is going to switch each time. So let's hear what they're like. Maybe some of them will be interesting, maybe not. I'm not liking that as much. Not liking that either. No, I'm liking it better in the simple mode, since that's what I sort of heard originally as I was doing it. And let's hear that one more time. Now, I've called up a third instance of Contact with a bass sound from Soul Sessions. So I want to create a bass part with that sound. Now, if I go back to my chords instrument, as I play it, we can see the chords that are triggered. So I'm going to start with G minor, and a D minor with F, A sharp with D, and an E flat. So I'm just going to make note mental or write down those notes, those bass notes, G, F, D, and E flat, and I want to put down a little part with that. So we'll have a 2-beat count in. So there's a workflow idea on how you can use some of these tools creatively. We'll continue with more in the next video.